Hi, my name is Glenn. This is my first year at CCP learning architecture. While I don't have a specific person in mind, certain buildings always stood out to me, which as a kid and later in my life made me want to become an architect myself and eventually build buildings myself. These buildings ranged from cathedrals to skyscrapers to mansions and just about anything, really. I remember vividly every location I've traveled to throughout my life and most of the buildings, and I love to notice every small little details, from the doorways to the windows to the archways, and just the design structure in general, which always inspired me. And I would notice these little things more than most people, even my family and friends I would bring along the way, and I would always try to point it out. And most people I knew were never really that interested, but that never really bothered me. Some of my favorites would be St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow. This is a large, multicolored, beautiful cathedral built in the name of St. Basil. The building in general just represents a lot for people of Eastern Orthodox religion, and just the spirituality and feel of the entire building and the architecture, the flowy roof structures and vibrant colors, bringing everything together just makes this one of the, if not my favorite, piece of architecture built. Another one has to be the La Sagrada Familia. This one I saw when I visited Spain. It's been about 3 years now, but every little nook and cranny that I got to see just so vividly struck me. It's a building unlike any I've ever seen before, with a very flowy architectural style rather than a more pointy or like gothic, sharp, cathedral-esque style. And it inspires me to be more open-minded when it comes to thinking about what we can possibly do with architecture. If I had to describe what I liked about it, it would have to be the forest. It would have to be the way the pillars are designed once you enter the cathedral. They spread out at the top, making it almost look like you're in a forest surrounded by trees. Then from the side, you have circular stained glass, brightening up the dark interior with a plethora of different colors, making it almost feel alien or something you'd see in a fantasy book series or movie. I'm someone who really likes history, so older cathedral and Gothic, Roman kind of architecture always inspired me the most. That's something I would like to incorporate in my buildings in the future, if possible. Someone that notices the different design style of buildings as you enter an area or city, and I always try to pick up on the small detail changes from area to area, from architect to architect. History, so researching why a building was built, where specifically and why it was built there, the reason for small little bits and pieces of the building, the architect's mindset, and just the facts and information is something that I always did, and eventually that just led me to wanting to become an architect. As it sounds, one of my biggest inspirations has to be the game Minecraft. As long as I can remember, I was always messing around in creative mode, trying to build the weirdest, wackiest, largest, smallest building that I can, always messing around with the different block palettes that I had, almost unintentionally, and with a childlike curiosity, which just transfers over to who I am as a person today. Another large part of this journey has to do with books and movies. Fictional worlds like Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings build up my love for this medium even more. I started out going down the beaten road of elementary school into middle school, the same one everyone would go to in this neighborhood, Lesh Elementary and Baldy Middle School. But then something changed in high school because I was given the opportunity to go to the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush, which is a specialized art school. There I focused on drawing and later on photography, which became one of my biggest passions. And I never lost my love of architecture here, and in fact it grew even more so because I got to get better at drawing. I got to draw my own buildings to an extent. Obviously it wasn't anything professional and the lines were all wobbly. It probably wouldn't have turned out well if I did get to design these buildings, but it was fun. I also did a few studies with my photography where I would go and photograph buildings from different angles, perspectives, and this gave me a newfound understanding of what architecture was and how it fits into the city life and why it's so important to people all around the world.